Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shriniyaama Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangaistushtvagam sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitai Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti nः Pusha Vishvavedaah Swasti nastarkshyo arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. 20th verse. Where the Rishi, channeling the Upanishad, abandons the meter completely. All part of poetic license. And so what does it say? We can't chant in the same way. We just have to make up something because it does not fit any meter. Ghritamiva payasi nigudham bhute bhute vasati vijnanam satatam manthayitavyam manasa manthana bhutena. So, this is a famous drishtanta. Drishtanta means, as we have seen, example. A very famous example. We find it in other Upanishads also. Most importantly, little known Upanishad, but famous in its own way because it is quoted a lot, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, where the verse is Tileshu tailam dadhiniva sarpihi srotassu apaha, and then araniva chagnihi. And then further it says that iti brahmopanishad, towards the 15 and 16 verse in the first chapter of Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Tileshu tailam, it shows the sarva vyapakatvam, the all pervasiveness of this Atma, which is all over the whole universe, which blesses everything by its presence. This is what is shown. And in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, it says Tileshu tailam. Tila means the sesame seed. You've seen the sesame seed, how small it is. And then if somebody were to ask, is the oil towards the top of the seed or underneath the seed or towards the bottom of the seed, we have to say the whole seed is oil. Of course, if you press one sesame seed, you will get a microscopic amount of oil. Okay, so this is called, what is that? The all-pervasiveness of the Atma, where you can't tell it is here, it is not there, there is no way to understand that, is very beautifully illustrated. Tileshu tailam dadhiniva sarpihi. Dadhini means curds, yogurt. In the yogurt is what? Sarpis. Sarpis means butter. There it is not ghee, it is their butter, here it is ghee. What is the difference between ghee and butter? One is just directly, what you get first is butter, then after that we get what is called clarified butter. So the ghee example here is, what's that? It has done a one-upmanship on the, so to speak, on the Shvetashvatara Upanishad example, because butter is generally used. I mean, butter can also be said to be hidden in the milk and all that, and yes, the all-pervasiveness element is there. But butter gets spoiled, correct? Unless you keep it in the fridge and give it some longevity, it gets spoiled. In the olden, ancient times when this was, this kind of a life was led, butter would get spoiled. You would keep it in a cool pot and everything, but then Krishna would come and steal it, or it would get spoiled. So Krishna stealing the butter is, baby Krishna stealing the butter is also very metaphorical. So the butter gets spoiled just like karma phala. Butter was karma phala. That's why everybody allowed Krishna to steal the butter, because I don't want the papa. I don't want even punya, because too much punya also, as we have seen before, what will happen? One will be born in a golden cage. Or one will be born with golden shackles. Golden or made of iron or gold. Shackles are still shackles. But this is what it is. So the butter is usually, because of its expiry date, because of its capacity to self-destruct, is seen as karma phala. You can also see that all-pervasiveness of the butter. Two things are there in this butter ghee example. This is the only thing that was uncommon, so I pointed out the difference first, but then there are many similarities between that example and this example. What are the similarities? The similarities that the ghee or the butter is hidden in the milk. So the action of churning the butter, sometimes there is a rod with some indentations, and then at home you can just go like that. Otherwise there is a big churning rod with a rope that people used to go, back and forth like that. You envelop the rod with a rope, and then you keep churning it, moving the rope back and forth. And so this churning is very important to, quote unquote, bring out the butter. Bring out means what? It was already there. We are not, mind you, producing the butter. We are not producing the ghee. Whatever was already there is coming out. Meaning, it is hidden. It is totally hidden. All you see is milk. So if you have full fat milk, you are not going to see the fat, correct? You are not going to see the ghee, unless you churn the milk or the yogurt or whatever you want. If you churn it, keeping on churning it, the act of churning, it looks like it's producing the butter, but it's not really producing the butter. What is it doing? The hidden butter that was already in the milk is brought forth, so to speak. And here also, what does it say? Let us see, with this introduction to this verse, let us see the line, word by word meaning. Ghritam iva. Iva again immediately alerts us to the fact that there is an adrishtanta, an example coming. So, iva. And vat means also like. Vat means other things also, but one of the things it means is like. Ghritavat. Payasi ghritam iva, you can say, or you can say payasi ghritavat, like the ghee in the milk. Or you can also say yatha and tatha. Yatha, just as. Tatha, so too. So these are all words which alert us to the fact that a drishtanta is coming and we have to watch out for it. And here the simple iva is used. Ghritam iva payasi nigudham. Nigudham means nischayena gudham. Definitely hidden. Payasi. Payas means milk. That's why we have payasam for Bhandara, and on Bhandara days, payasam. Payasam means that which is made of milk. Payasi bhavam, made of milk. And so, payasam. Then we have bhute bhute vasati. Bhute bhute means in every being, in all the elements and elementals, elements bhuta, and then elementals bhautika. That which has come from the elements is called elementals. First we have the 5 elements. After that, what do we have? So many things that have come out of the 5 elements. Starting with our own body, mind, sense complex, all these things are called elementals, made of the elements. And so bhute bhute vasati. Vasati means indwells. What indwells? Vijnanam. Vijnanam here is not self-knowledge. Vijnanam is Brahma. Brahman is called Vijnanam. Brahman, whose presence is there in the whole universe, but what is the presence like? It's hidden. It's hidden. Just as in the milk, the presence of the ghee is hidden, similarly the presence of Brahman in this whole universe of names and forms likewise is hidden. Now comes the Darshtanta. This is the Darshtanta, what is exemplified. And then what? How do you bring the ghee out? There is a process. First what? Churning, correct? And then after that, cooking. You fry out all the impurities. That's why the ghee is given here. Ghee is free of impurities. Butter will still have impurities. That's why it goes bad. Ghee you keep for such a long time doesn't go bad. Very interesting. Ghee doesn't go bad. It doesn't need refrigeration. In fact, in Ayurveda it is said, Ghritam vai ayuhu. It's life itself. It doesn't go bad. And that's why it is changed into, from the butter example in other Upanishads, it is changed into Ghritam because ghee does not go bad. What goes bad is butter. But ghee here is forever practically, and then that means, it will go bad after a long time, but still it's there for a very, very long time. It will go rancid if you expose it to Indian summers, Rishikesh summer, like that it will go bad. But otherwise, if it's kept in a stable environment, it will last a very, very, very long time. And so this ghee is used as an example to show the nature of Brahman as not coming to an end, limitless and infinite, from whom all impurities have departed. No, they were not there to begin with. So that which is free of blemishes and impurities, this is what has to be understood. Understood how? What do you do to the milk? You churn it. Here also some churning is involved. Let us see what this churning is. The churning is satatam. Satatam means constantly. Manthayitavyam. I have told before, when the word, the suffix tavya comes, it has the force of an injunction. Tavya means injunction. Manthayitavyam, manth, to churn. So manthayitavyam means the must be churned. Must be churned. Like it is a compulsory, mandatory act. Without churning, can you get the butter and the ghee? No. Similarly, without churning, this churning, as though churning, Brahman is not discovered, is not understood. And then how do you churn it? Manasa manthana bhutena. So, it is a mental churning, where the mind is in the form of the churning rod. The churning rod is the mind, and then what is the milk? Brahman is the milk. Brahman is the milk, the churning rod is the mind, and this knowledge that I am free, whole, blemishless, free of all impurities, and even though I am in this finite body which is falling apart as we speak, I am still free of all kinds of problems, all kinds of limitations. This is the ghee. And this knowledge does not change, does not die, and this knowledge is myself alone. This knowledge is myself alone, nothing other than me. This knowledge is me. And so therefore, I have to understand this properly. How to churn, what mind, etc., what is the use of the mind, all these things has to be properly understood. So the churning is applied to the milk, just like that. So this is called Brahmanveshanam. Analysis into Brahman. Analyzing Brahman is done again not by oneself. The next mantra is going to point that out. It is done with the help of the parampara. It is done with the help of the Guru. You can't just suddenly say, I'm going to churn and then be a, what is it called, the so-called modern Vedantin. What does the so-called modern Vedantin do? Everything is kapola kalpitam. Kapola is an informal word for skull. Okay? What's inside the skull should think. But if the skull itself starts to have thoughts, it is called kapola kalpitam. If the skull has thoughts, what will it be? Is the skull, the skull starts to think, we are in trouble. So we can't just have whatever you feel like you can't do. People do this. People write entire books on Upanishads. And the only place they are sold is where? Airports, correct. Airports, self-help section. Or maybe in a few bookstores. Whatever they feel like they write. There is no guru, there is no parampara. It's just like they'll say, the mind should churn, and churning means you have to analyze, and analysis means this, that. I can't even think like them, so I'm going to give up. But basically, it is an untethered churning, where the churning takes you to some place which is not sanctioned at all by the Upanishad. Why? Because it doesn't take you to knowledge. It doesn't take you to knowledge. That's why even whether the readers of these books or the writers of the books, both are equally confused and remain confused. Yes. And in the Mundakopanishad, we will see this. In the Kathopanishad also, there is an expression, there is a mantra which says, Andhe naiva niyamanaha yatha andhaha. It's like the blind leading the blind. The followers of the blind person, a self-styled God man or God woman, do not know that our so-called guru is also blind. They don't know. So they follow, they have full trust. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. They have finished the 4th chapter and they know this expression. And so they say, we have to follow our teacher with full shraddha. And what does the so-called teacher do? The teacher herself doesn't know where they are going. The teacher doesn't know where they are going. And the teacher goes and what? Falls into a ditch. And then what happens to all the followers? Yeah, dhadam, 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 they all fall into the ditch. And then what happens? They dust themselves off, get up, and then the so-called leader says, what does the leader say? See, I knew there was a ditch. That's why I went and fell first so that all of you could fall on me. I broke the fall. This is what the person will say. Then they get up and then they walk a few steps more and then again falling. No, you have to give a different example. Then crashes against a tree. Crash against the tree. Then what? All of them crash into the teacher. Then the teacher says that, everybody was looking and feeling a little dejected. So it's time for a group hug. We are actually having a group hug. So like this, they are also fooled. And the so-called leader is also equally self-deluded. This kind of manthanam will just take us away from the knowledge because the manthanam is a studied pedagogy. It has a certain kind of a order there. How to do this manthanam is got a certain order. And that order is given in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in the dialogue between sage Yajnavalkya and his wife Maitreyi. When he tells her, that I am going in search of the Atma, naturally she is curious. She says, what Atma? How do I get it? Do I get it by remaining here and enjoying the money that you are going to leave me because you are going to become a sannyasi? Maybe the modern husband would have said yes, yes and left. But being an honest man, he says no. Vittena nashasti amritatvasya na ashasti. You cannot hope to gain the infinite by finite means. Money is a finite means, and then you can't gain the infinite through the finite. So how do I gain this Atma, she asks. She says, you have to tell me. Before going anywhere, you have to tell me all this. You have to teach me what you know. So then he says, Atma va are, vai are, drashtavyaha, shrotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha. 4 words with tavya, 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 tavya. Tavya means what? Must. You must do this. Tavya. So Atma vai are, oh honey, are means honey. Oh honey, the Atma, oh dearest one, the Atma must be seen. And he knows, seen means as though seen. As good as seen. And in order to quote unquote see the Atma, what must one do? Shrotavyaha. Shravanam kartavyaha. One has to listen properly from a teacher who is qualified. Who is the qualified teacher? The one who is a Shrotriya, who has studied from his teacher, who has studied from her teacher, who has again studied from his teacher, her teacher, all the way to Lord Shiva, Dakshinamurti, Adi Guru. So therefore, the Atma vai are Shrotavyaha. Shravanam kartavyaha. You have to listen, you have to expose yourself to the teaching and allow it to percolate. Shrotavyaha. Then the Shravanam, as we have seen, the listening to the Upanishad is the Mukhya Sadhanam for Atmajnanam. Mukhya Sadhanam means what? The primary means of, sadhana means means. The primary means to gain this knowledge is Shravanam. What does Shravanam do? Remove this Shabda Maya, we saw in the last verse, remove this Shabda Maya Jalam, the net of all these things. What kind of things? Wrong notions. The net of wrong notions is removed by the Shravanam. This itself should produce the knowledge, and if one is what is called Uttama Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari means what? The most qualified student. Where are they? Where are they? In the books of in the pages of the Upanishads. Yeah, they are ideal type students. Shvetaketu needed only 9 classes and then he was fine. Okay, done, I'm done. Bye bye dad, he said, got up and left. Nachiketa perhaps even less, and he also left. Arjuna, 700 and verses, and then after that what did he say? Nashto mohaha smritir labdha. He also said fine, no problem. These are all in the books, okay? These are all ideal, typical students who are not there in real life. So we cannot feel bad. I'm not a Uttama Adhikari. I think I'll stop attending classes from tomorrow because I am not like Nachiketa. I am not like, what was the other one? Shvetu. I'm not like this one. I'm not like that one. No, nobody is like that. That's the whole point. Oh, then has the Upanishad inserted these students in order to make us feel bad? No, that's what we will think with our subjective thinking, okay? That's what happens when our skull starts to think. We'll think that the Upanishad has deliberately placed these kinds of high achievers and overachievers and these fantastically trained students with Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, what else? Viveka, Vairagya, Mumukshutvam, etc., etc. Has the Upanishad placed them there so that we feel inferior? No, that is not the case at all. The Upanishad has placed them there to show that in the ideal circumstances, the knowledge takes place. And then seeing Nachiketa, seeing the description of Shvetaketu is inspiring. It's intended to be inspiring so that we can also be like that. We can also be like that. We would want to be like that. I want to be like Nachiketa, but then I have my own parameters and I see where I have lack. Do I have lack? Usually it's in 2 places for everybody. What are the 2 places where there is a lack of preparation? One is Vairagya, difficulty in dropping things. And then the second place is Shraddha. These 2 have to be tightened up. I can see that. And Nachiketa shows the Vairagya. Lord Yama gives, dangles him with lots of boons. No, I'll give you this. Don't ask this for this knowledge. Please don't ask for this knowledge. You're a small boy. You should enjoy a good life, a nice kingdom. And guess what? I'll give you all that. Long life, good health, nice kingdom, plus I'll throw in something special. I'll give you, what should I say? Porsche. What is Porsche? Car from heaven. Celestial Porsche, celestial musicians, celestial singers, and what is that called? Instruments, celestial instruments. They can play at your court. Nobody will have this. Nobody will have this. You will just, you will be the most popular one. People will want to visit you for the musicians. People will want to just, ride in your car. And people will be just so fascinated by you. You will be the most popular individual in your time. And what does Nachiketa say? Tavaiva vahaha tavanritya gite. Keep your fancy chariots and keep your singers and musicians with yourself. What do I want? This knowledge. And Lord Yama says, oh no, you have even more Vairagya than me. And he tells a very candid story. Usually you don't find a teacher like Lord Yama who does a very beautiful self-own. What does he say? He says, Janami aham. Janami aham means, I knew this. Even though it's present tense, it should be taken as past. Shevadhihi anityam. I knew that this treasure, what is the treasure? The karma phala of becoming Lord Yama. Yamya padavim. Yamya padavi means the status of being Lord Yama. I knew it was temporary. Still tato maya chitaha nachiketagnihi. So by me was kindled this fire ritual repeatedly. In fact, his wife also might have warned him. Yami was his wife's name. Yama, Yami. Okay? Yeah. Nice when they rhyme like that. Even in our class we have Kanta, Kanti. Nice. So, Yama, Yami. Very nice. So like this, Yama and Yami. And so Yami might have warned him. Said, don't do this. When she was out shopping, he kept on doing this Nachiketagni, named after Nachiketa. That was another boon he gave. And so this fire ritual, that would take him to heaven and give him a celestial, position. And then he says, look where I am. Adhruvaihi dravyaihi praptavan asmi nityam. I have so-called nityatvam. Dhruvam means so-called certainty is there because I am here till the end of the kalpa. After that, new Yama will come. Another person who is foolish enough to keep doing this. And what am I? I am the CEO of the warehouse of disembodied jivas. That's what I am. All I have to do is there are all these assembly lines. Punarjanma, Punarjanma, Punarjanma. And then maybe 3-4 assembly lines are there, different swargas, swarga, and then punarjanma, and then what else? And then brahmaloka for few, and then what else? Then naraka means hell, swarga means heaven. So like this, I am just putting the souls on various assembly line, carousels, where they have to go. Look at me. Adhruvaihi dravyaihi. All the materials used for the yajna is what? Impermanent. And out of that, what did I get? A certain relative so-called permanence. It's a very ironical statement. And he praises Nachiketa for the vairagya of not accepting anything and not being swerved from his goal. Not in the least bit he is able to, he goes away from his goal. Just amazing. So that kind of a student is only there in the pages of the Upanishad. Only in the pages of the Upanishad such students are there. Then on the opposite continuum, what do we have? Adhama adhikari. Adhama means full of tamas, lowly adhikari. Even to call them an adhikari is a disservice, but it's on the other end of the continuum, so we have to discuss that. So what is on the other end of the continuum? Full of tamas. Nothing happens. It's in fact more satisfying to teach a rock Vedanta, than such a student. Where are these kinds of students? Also in the books, not in the empirical world. Both ends of the continuum are ideal type, the best and the worst. So where does everybody else fall? Right in the middle, somewhere in the middle. Madhyama adhikaris. So for Uttama adhikaris, Shravanam itself is enough. Shravanam is not only Mukhya sadhanam, but it's the only sadhana needed. The only thing needed is to what? Remove the ajnanam, finished. Ajnanam removed, Jnanam is already there, and the eclipse removed, the sun shines brightly. But then what happens for the Madhyamadhikaris? That is not enough. Why is it not enough? Jnanam is there. It's not that Shravanam does not produce Jnanam. Shravanam is the only thing that makes you discover who you are. Jnanam is there. I have understood, but my understanding is riddled with doubts, vagueness, and error. This is most of the people's situation. The clarity is there, but it is clouded by what? Vagueness, error, and doubt. It is clouded. It is, so therefore, mananam mantavyaha, mananam kartavyaha. What is mananam? We can say mentation. Mentation means doubt removal is called mananam. And this is not a belief-based tradition, like many other religions or whatever. First of all, this is not a religion. And secondly, it's not a belief-based tradition at all. It's not a belief-based body of knowledge. Oh, you believe that you are Brahman and then you're done. No. What is this? It is something to understand. Until the understanding comes, you cannot say, I am free of samsara. One cannot at all say that. So therefore, what do you have to do? You have to do this mantavyaha means mananam, removal of doubt. That's why we have question and answers. In every Upanishad is in the form of a samvada, dialogue. The Bhagavad Gita is in the form of a samvada. Even this Upanishad is in the form of the samvada, but you don't know the name of the guru, the name of the student. So the dialogic method is very important, where the student has the space to ask the questions. And so the asking the questions is one part of the doubt removal. Another part of the doubt removal is when one is able to just sit with a doubt and then apply what might be the answer based on whatever the teachings have been. The doubts are of many, many kinds, but helpfully the tradition has classified the doubts into two kinds of doubts. One is called pramanagata samshaya. Samshaya means doubt. Viparyaya, samshaya, shanka. These are all words for doubt. So pramanagata shanka, a doubt centered on the pramana, means of knowledge. How can Vedanta be a means of knowledge? And why are we being so fanatic? Why do we say only through the study of Vedanta I'll be free? Why can't I say that if I do some tapas, I will be free? If I do some japa, I will be free. If I meditate, I will be free. Why can't we say that? Why do we have to say only through Vedanta it is there, this I will be free? This kind of a doubt. There many such doubts are there, but this is a quintessential kind of doubt. That means what? It means it is centered on the pramana. Pramana-centered doubt is called pramanagata shanka. And then the next kind of doubt, general thing is done, is called prameyagata shanka or prameyagata samshaya. What is this doubt? Centered on prameya. What is prameya? That which is to be known. What is to be known? Ishvara, Brahman. Brahman is to be known, and about that I have a lot of doubts. What is this Brahman? What is this Ishvara? Why should I know Ishvara? And we get confused because there is a different understanding of Ishvara in the empirical world. And what is that Ishvara? The one that is sitting inside the temple. So many hands, and then if you go to, what is that, goddess Gayatri temple, she'll have 3 legs. This is very strange. And then when one wonders, if you don't understand all this, you feel like running away. What is this? Why I have to worship this, and what am I worshipping? And one doesn't understand. And in fact, the Kena Upanishad clearly says that these are just aids. This is not Brahman. This is not even Ishvara. What is Ishvara? That which is understood as the truth of myself is Ishvara. Nedam yadidam upasate. Not this tadeva brahma tadvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Like for example, this is a kind of a refrain. One verse says, yan manasana manute yena ahur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Yat manasana manute, that which is not understood by the mind. Yena ahuhu manomatam. Those that know Brahman, the Brahmavits, the sages, what do they say? Because of whose presence this Brahman, this mind is known, because of which Brahman this mind is understood. This mind becomes an object of observation. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. This is Ishvara, this is Brahman. Na idam yadidam upasate. Not this that you worship. Not Ishvara cannot be an object of worship. It is the content, the truth of you, the subject. That is what we mean by Ishvara. Then why do I have to go to temple? Well, do you know this? No, I don't. Okay. Then the temple or whatever is in the temple becomes a way to go step by step. Ironically, just like in the Bhagavad Gita we see, through a certain kind of a deliberate kartritvam, we discover oneself as akarta. By doing, one understands, by doing karma yoga, by doing consciously, by doing it as an act of offering, and by doing what is right, I discover myself to be the non-doer. Very interesting paradox. And so, similarly, the idea is through when one is a baby, when one is small, one cannot really connect to the formless as oneself. So through the forms, one discovers formless. The formless Brahman is myself. This is what one discovers. So this is what is called mantavyaha. So mantavyaha, this is what is called prameya gata shanka. What is Brahman? How can I be Brahman? All these things. What is Ishvara? How can I be Ishvara? All this is prameya gata shanka. And both these shankas are alleviated through mananam. Mananam is the meditation, which has 2 parts. One is with the help of the teacher, the other is again with the help of the teacher and the Shastra, but done on one's own. Suddenly, sometimes you are reading the verse and some meaning comes, which is in keeping with what you have studied. The verse illumines itself because you have studied it already and you see it in the light of the teachings of the Shastra. This is called mananam, removal of the shankas, pramanagata shanka, prameyagata shanka. And because of that, what happens is that there is a certain demeanor that is there in the student, because of which we have what? We have no more doubt. When the doubt goes, the vagueness also goes. Correct? Doubt and vagueness are together. So when the doubt goes through mananam, that vague idea, meaning everything is crystal clear in the classroom, as soon as I go downstairs and wear my footwear, what happens? The knowledge also wears out. Suddenly there is no clarity. This is vagueness. So the vagueness also goes while exposing oneself to this knowledge, and through mananam, doubt and vagueness goes. What remains, if supposing the error also goes, wonderful. But sometimes what happens, the mananam, removes the doubt and the vagueness, the error still remains. What do we mean by error? I know I am Brahman, ... but I don't behave like Brahman except when I am asleep. Yeah, that's only the time I don't get angry, I have no desires, I have no complaints. Only when I am asleep, I am Brahman, Ishvara. When I am awake, what am I? Non-Brahman, non-Ishvara. So the Ishvara mode is turned on when? Only in repose. And rarely, once in a while, I see a glimpse of myself as Ishvara, when I feel accommodative, when I feel non-judgmental, when suddenly I can be compassionate, when suddenly I can be, for a second, I can see the other person's point of view, and for 1 second when I don't complain. In between 2 breaths, I stop complaining, and then, wow, I'm in Ishvara mode. So what do? I have to celebrate. I have to say, yay, I'm in Ishvara mode. But then I did it too quickly. Oh, there is a catch. Back to Jiva mode of complaining. Why me? Why only I get these catches? Why not somebody else? Back to Jiva mode. Okay, this is called error. Error means it could be wrong knowledge, but it could also include wrong knowledge, that the teacher says you are Brahman, and then what? And then I listen to it as I am never Brahman. So that could also be wrong knowledge, but frequently the error in our ways is not behaving like Brahman. There is a big gap, like the Grand Canyon, between our knowledge and between our conduct. How we conduct ourselves in the world is does not commensurate with the knowledge that we understand. The understanding is there, but it is not reflected in the behavior. This people mistake for, first I have to have theory, then I have to practice. This is not practice. This is the error. This is a gap. There is nothing to practice here. We have to correct the error. That's what it is. And the error in Sanskritam is called Viparita Bhavana. Viparita Bhavana means opposite understanding. Habitual orientations crowd the mind to bring about an opposite understanding. What are the habitual orientations? I am a mortal. I don't have this. I don't have that. I am used to complaining even when there is nothing to complain. Someone called me and said, I'm very anxious, you need to talk to me. I said, why? What happened? Are you okay? What is going on? No, everything is going well. Then I followed certain things in this person's life. How is the family? Great. How is the cat? Great. How is the dog? Wonderful. How are how is your job? Fantastic. Then what's wrong? I'm anxious because there's nothing to complain about. So somehow the person made a complaint of no complaint. Okay, so this is what we call by error. It's not vagueness, it's an error. It's a habitual orientation. One is used to complaining so much and all the time. When there is nothing to complain about, one gets anxious. Why everything is going well? That was the next question. I said, don't analyze, enjoy. No, that means something bad is next on the horizon. So therefore I'm really upset. Something bad is on the horizon. Something bad is definitely going to happen. Why? Because 10 days nothing bad has happened. So tomorrow is the 11th day. This is not like Ekadashi, okay? Yeah, this is not like the 11th day, 10th day. It's not like that. And the same person who anticipates the dread does not think, when something dreadful is happening, does not think, okay, for 4 days I've had a difficult time, tomorrow is definitely going to be better. They don't think like that. It's only one way. One way they think like this. It's very, very, very strange. So anyhow, so this is called viparita bhavana. The force of the habitual orientations. It's like a bad habit. I know I must not do this, but I do this. Like, some people eat their hair. Why? Don't ask. But then the hair is always in the mouth. And then some people bite the nails. Maybe because of anxiety or some free-floating anxiety. I don't know the reason. But some people bite the nails and certain other mechanisms. And those are what? Just habits. And consciously, if we shine the light on the habits go away. We can use the light, meaning when we are aware of the habits, we can first reduce that habit and then eliminate it completely. So similarly here, the third thing, nididhyasitavyaha. Shrotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavyaha. So nididhyasana means the removal of habitual orientations. How is that done? That is also done through a churning. The doubt is removed through one kind of churning with the mind that is dedicated or given to the Shastra, and then the other kind of churning here, nididhyasitavyaha, the nididhyasana is accomplished through the churning of the words of the Upanishads that have already been taught to me. So I know the meaning. I know the meaning when one says, asangaha aham, I am not affected by anything that is going on. I know the meaning of that. I have been taught that vakya. And that same vakya I bring to the mind and let it cogitate. Let it dwell in the mind and see the meaning repeatedly. So we cannot say how long to do nididhyasana, because it should not be a chore. It should be something pleasant. Just like nobody asks the question, how long I should be happy? So same way, one doesn't ask the question, how long should I revel in the glory of myself? That is nididhyasana. And then satatam means constantly. Constantly revel in the glory of yourself. What do you have to lose? Much better than free-floating thinking, which will lead you to sorrow. When? Immediately. In 2 minutes, it will lead you to sorrow. We'll see this in the 6th chapter. We'll see how that happens. So, constantly if one lets the mind go, it's called mechanical thinking. Mechanical thinking means you jump like a frog from one thing to another thing to another thing, and soon, what? You land in hot water. That's what happens. The mind is full of pain. Very soon it degenerates into pain. Why? Because that is the habit. I know I am Brahman, but I am in pain. Why? Because of wrong thinking. That's what it is. But if I revel in the teachings, then this happens less and less. So nididhyasanam can be compared to an open eye meditation, where everything I see as Brahman, all is Brahman, including myself. Don't forget to include your own body, mind, sense complex. And then when you look upon everything like that, it becomes a kind of a contemplation. First we can say on the glory of Ishvara, and then second step we can say this Ishvara is what? Myself alone. There is no other Ishvara. So these are the two kinds of churnings, that are talked about here. Very beautiful. Let us see again if we have covered everything. So, manasa manthana bhutena. So, manthana bhutena manasa. So, here manthana bhutena means in the form of the manthana. Manthana, churning rod. Manasa. and the third case is for to show, not you can say it's an instrument, but better yet in the form of. It's called Itham Bhute Tritiya. In the form of that, the mind itself is to be seen in the form of a churning stick. And the mind is used here constructively, not destructively, to further this knowledge and to protect this knowledge from the onslaught of doubt and erroneous thinking. So what we are looking for is a knowledge that is free of doubts, free of error, and free of vagueness. So the doubt and the vagueness are taken care of by Shravanam and Mananam, and if there is erroneous ways of being, it is taken care of by Nididhyasanam. So very beautiful analogy. And how many analogies we have had? We have had 4 analogies, 3 analogies so far. So first one was the husk and the grain. Keep the grain, let go of the husk, and then so Atma, Anatma, like this. And then the second one was what? Many colored cows, one colored milk, to talk about the non-contradiction of the various things, various shastras. And then this is the third one. Third one is the ghee hidden in the milk as a potential. And that ghee is brought forth, so to speak, but the example is finite. Any example you give for Brahman, no matter how creative, is finite. It's not that the ghee, just like the ghee comes out, Brahman will come out. Brahman will jump out like that, jack in the box. You press a button and it will come out. No, it won't come out. It is you. You discover it and you understand yourself as non-separate from this Brahman. That is the idea. It's all a cognitive thing. And through this, through this constructive churning, through manana and nididhyasana, one achieves a knowledge that is freed of all pratibandhas, obstacles. More we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. The advertisement is there for the next course starting May 1. Anybody interested?